No, this binder doesn't mean I'll be here for 15 minutes, so don't worry about that. My name is Tommy Lim, and I've known Craig since he was in the 6th grade. I was his first club leader. I will be sharing about finding your soulmate at Cameron House. You never know when you will meet the love of your life. But when you are part of a Christian community like Cameron House that is guided by the Foursquare program of mental, physical, social, and spiritual development, good things can happen. And for many of us here, it did. Bonnie and I have been happily married for 48 years. Long time. And we have 2 adult children. Our daughter Kelly is a past board member at Cameron House, and our son Aaron is a current board member at the Chinatown Community Development Center. I am blessed having Bonnie in my life. Originally, Bonnie was supposed to be standing next to me when I'm speaking, but she said, that's gonna be kind of weird, so she didn't want to do that. I would be forever thankful to Cameron House for creating such a nurturing environment that Bonnie and I were able to be a part of. And the second part that I'm thankful for is the Cameron House Christmas Holly Sale. So for some of us old timers, you laugh because you remember that. There are many Cameron House love stories. This one is mine. Let's go back to December of 1970. Pat Louie is laughing because she was there during all those years. I was a friend of Bonnie's eldest brother, Ed. Ed, can you raise your hand? And Ed's kid sister was Bonnie. And that's the way I looked at her. That's Ed's kid sister. When Bonnie was a junior at Galileo High School, she and another individual, I will call her Betty, not her real name, but that's what I'm going to call her, were the co-chairs of the Holly Sale. And sometimes people wonder, how are those Cameron House kids, they're so mature, they can do so many things, they're so talented. Well, it's things like this Christmas Holly Sale that develops these skills in them, and you mature a little bit faster. I've heard that comment many times. You sound like you're a Cameron House kid. It was during that period of time when the things that the Holly, their group sold was hollies for $1, a wreath for $3, and a wreath for $3.50. When I was the top seller for the wreaths, I sold 12 of them. So I was pretty proud of myself. So when I brought my money into Cameron House, just to hand in, and to collect my wreaths so I could deliver it to you, and you, I encountered Bonnie's co-chair, Betty. And again, this is why I gave her a fictitious name. I don't want you to figure out who this is. So I remember walking down Joyce Alley and seeing Betty. I said, okay, I want to hand in my money. And she says, wait a minute, hey, this doesn't make sense. This is messy. What's this, and this? So I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be ugly, you know? Then my savior comes, Bonnie. Bonnie's the co-chair. She comes over and she tells Betty, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And she did. From that moment on, I looked at her not as Ed Toy's baby's younger sister, but as Bonnie, the beautiful young lady that I wanted to get to know more. It was after that experience that I asked Bonnie to go out for the first time. Let me jump now to September of 1973. For some of you people out there, you go, 1973, 1970, that's a long time ago. Robert Lim has a surprised look at his face. Huh? You know? In 1973, I went away to college in Chicago. And it was the first time I'd ever left home. And for some of you who remember going away to school, it's tough. Especially for an Asian kid, Chinese kid from North Beach, going to Chicago, that's a whole new world to me. And I really missed Bonnie terribly. By then, we'd gone out for about 3 years. Fortunately for me, Reverend Harry Chuck says to me, "Hey, I will be in Chicago for a conference in September. Would you like to get together for dinner and a movie?" Of course, you know, I won't see anybody who I knew, so I'm excited. So he says, "Come to my hotel and just tell them who you are, they'll tell you where to go." I said, okay. So I go to the hotel, and he's in room 400. So I knock on the door, and almost immediately, as soon as that door opens, Harry says, "You got a phone call, here." Then he goes outside, closes the door. I didn't know that Harry had arrangements with Bonnie, that I'm gonna call you, and you could talk to Tommy. So it was wow, how special is that? So about 15 minutes later, Harry knocks on the door, and in that really mild-mannered Harry Chuck voice, "Tommy, it's 15 minutes now. It's kind of expensive, you know." So that ended that call, you know. But it's examples like that ties you into a church, an organization forever. We're talking 50 years ago. That's a long time. Fast forward to June 28, 1975. That was when Bonnie and I got married. I want you to raise your hand if you were there that day when I got married. Bonnie and I got married. Who was there? You guys were there. Nathan? Yeah. Harry Chuck, you were there. Oh, okay, that's all right. Meeting Bonnie and falling in love just was meant to be. But let me also share with you one of those memorable Cameron House experiences. And this was on Christmas Eve. That was a really exciting time for me, because to attend church on Christmas Eve and then afterwards was very special. I think all of you old-timers remember, after we had Christmas Eve service, we went Christmas caroling. That was cool. There was probably at least 50 of us roaming around Chinatown, singing Christmas carols, Chinatown Chinese Hospital, and our finale was always at the Fairmont Hotel. Leonie looks a bit puzzled, she's a little bit young for that. Okay, so we're at the Fairmont Hotel, and you know how grand that hotel lobby is, and that grand staircase that they have? Well, we would be along those stairs, all of us, and we're belting out these Christmas carols. And the hotel, I think they really appreciated it, because what they started doing for us the last few years was they would always have milk and cookies for us. So I think that they like it. I think you remember, right? Bonnie and I lived in San Jose from 1977 to actually about a year ago when we moved to Foster City. But we have never forgotten the lessons that we learned at Cameron House and what it meant. And that's when we were introduced to Christ as well, being day camp leaders. So you may not be living in San Francisco anymore. You may not be around this community, but the things that you learn will never go away, and you will forever remember that. And we hope that everybody who's gone through those experiences, even though you didn't go through those experiences, you can see the great feelings that many of us have regarding Cameron House, and hopefully that you folks will support Cameron House as well. But Bonnie and I will forever remember the Christian mentoring we received at Cameron House, standing on the shoulders of people like Reverend Harry Chuck, Reverend Norman Fong, Those are the shoulders that we stood on and we continue to stand on. So these values were important to us now as it was in 1970. And I'm sure with your support that these values will continue for at least another 150 years. But the most important thing now is that Cameron House is where I met the love of my life, Bonnie. Manuela, can you show me a picture, please? This was Bonnie when,
Uh-oh.
I almost forgot to show this picture. Remember that look? Black and white? That was Bonnie at home. Probably after she had guitar lessons from Gary Tong. Thank you very much.
Oh.